In almost any program where you have interviews, you'll need to place a lower third into your show. Now, what exactly is a lower third? Well, a lower third is simply a title where you have the person's name and perhaps what their job is, or in this case, their country of origin. Now, the problem with Final Cut Pro is that the basic title tool only has one font, one color, and one text size. So it's really hard to make lower thirds. Fortunately for us, there's also a text tool that allows us to create a lower third. Go ahead and select the lower third and load it into your viewer. The next thing you want to do is you want to bring that lower third into your timeline on top of the person being ID'd. Let's go ahead, select the range of clips that we want to zoom into, Shift-Option-Z, and keep our cursor on top of the interviewee. I'm then going to grab the lower third from the viewer, drag it over to the canvas, and once again drop it on Superimpose. My lower third is now the exact same duration as the interview. I'm going to double-click to load this back into the viewer and press on the Control key. As you can see, I now have two text entry boxes, one for the name and one for the country, and each of these has its own font, style, and size. Let's go ahead and enter the name of the runner. His name is Ray Zahab, and he's from Canada. Once I type the name in, I'll simply press the Tab key, and I can see how it looks in my program. Let's go ahead and change the font to something a little more aesthetically pleasing. I'm a big fan of Arial, so we'll go ahead and switch it to Arial. We also want to make the name stand out a little bit more than the country, so we can switch that to bold. For Canada, we'll also keep the idea of using Arial, but this time we won't bold it, and perhaps we'll give it a little tint of color. We'll make it a very light yellow. Now, if you scroll down to the bottom of the text box, you'll notice that you can put a background on. By default, it's set to none, but if we click on the drop-down window and switch to bar, what do you think we'll see? We'll see a line. If we really want to see a bar, we have to click and choose a solid. And now we have a bar. Now, obviously, a big black bar is not aesthetically pleasing, so we can go ahead and we can actually control the opacity of that bar. I can also change the color, so perhaps I want to match the gray in his shirt. I'm going to grab my eyedropper, click on his color, and now we have a light gray, and I can make this a little more opaque. Now, once you create your first lower third, you may want to use it throughout your program. The best way to do this is to save a copy in your browser by dragging it from the timeline and dropping it right in the name column. Now, if I want to use this lower third later on in my program, and let me scroll ahead to the next interview, I simply put my playhead over the interview, grab the lower third, drag it all the way across, skipping the viewer, and drop it right onto Superimpose. Now I know it says Ray Zahab in Canada, and this isn't Ray anymore, so I simply double-click to load this back into the viewer, and I enter the runner's name and country. This is Charlie Engel from the United States. Let's go ahead and enter his name. The basic lower third tool in Final Cut Pro gets the job done. If you're looking to have more control over your lower thirds, check out Motion 4, also included in Final Cut Studio.